Oh, all right. Well, we're gonna play against Adam first, while people start coming in. Okay, we have D4. Let's go for a King's Indian with Knight to F6. And as you can see in the title of the stream, I'm going to be explaining all of my moves as best as I can for your education and entertainment. So, all right, let's start with a King's Indian with G6. Knight to F6 is just to stop the pawn coming to E4. Yeah, man, I'm not doing bad, Johan. I'm not doing bad. I've had a pretty relaxing weekend so far, which normally I'm playing football, but I didn't have football this week, so it's been a bit more chill, which has been nice. Did a bit of shopping yesterday. Well, my girlfriend did a bit of shopping yesterday. I accompanied her. Yeah, it was good. It was fun. What have you guys been up to so far this weekend? Have you got any plans? Alright, so we're basically waiting for white to play e4, and if he does, then we will play d6 to play against the e5 push. But if white doesn't commit to e4, then theoretically we don't have to go d6, although the main pawn breaks in the position for us are going to be c5 and e5 at an appropriate moment, which we can often prepare with the pawn on d6. So yeah, e4 will go d6, and this transposes back into a normal variation of the King's Indian. Flying back home to family. From where to where, mate? I'm going to assume you're from Germany, just from the name, but I don't know if you've watched the anime Monster, but obviously Johan is one of the main characters in that, and that's in Germany, so. Alright, so on pawn to h3, again playing against bishop to g4, I think we can go for the immediate e5, and I think we should go for that. So e5 looks like I'm blundering a pawn after takes, and knight takes. So take, knight takes. But then we have knight takes e4 with a discovery against the knight. We also have the queen staring at each other, but ours is defended with a rook. So yeah, Monster is where my username inspired from, Johann Liebert. Yeah, exactly. I'm a big fan of that anime. It's a good one. So, okay, that does make sense. That does make sense. So, okay. He locks the center with pawn d5. So, I'm considering knight h5, knight f4 ideas, and also just playing f4. So that's what we're going to do. If you saw my King's Indian speedrun on the channel, maybe a month ago or something, I used this idea a couple of times to break with f5. And one of the reasons that knight f4 is really strong is that if white takes the knight and we take back with the e-pawn, it opens up our bishop, which can be quite good. So, okay. We have bishop d3, trying to play against the move f5. And it is interesting, because if f5 is played, after takes and takes, there could be ideas of knight takes e5 with discoveries against our knight. So we have a couple of options. First option is queen e8. You might be saying, what on earth does queen e8 do? Well, the point is, after f5 take and take, the queen is now defending the knight. Also defending the e5 pawn, which is maybe useful. So I kind of like that. I kind of like that. I'm also thinking we could go for the immediate knight to f4, offering this trade and opening up the bishop. But I also don't think we're in too much of a rush. So I'm going to go queen to e8 first. Actually from India, but did spend my time in Germany. That's when I created this YouTube account. Makes sense. Makes sense. I've never really heard of many Indians going to Germany, to be fair. But yeah, I've been to Germany a few times. Nice place. I mean, Germany is huge, obviously, so it depends on where you go, I would assume. But the countryside is gorgeous around like the River Rhine and that sort of area. So, okay. Queen e8. Kind of a thematic idea to just control, well, defend the knight, basically. Bishop e3, that's often trying to signal that white wants to push c5, which is a common way to play against the King's Indian. On knight to b5, attacking c7, I'm prepared to play knight to a6, keeping a hold of the c7 pawn, because his bishop can never see the pawn. So let's go f5. Let's go f5. Yeah, I suppose Berlin is probably quite different to most of Germany. And I mean, I'd probably assume it's the same in other big cities. Maybe, I mean, I went to was it Dresden I went to? No, I went to Hamburg. I went to Hamburg a few years ago. That was quite nice. Okay, my opponent castles. So here I'm heavily considering the move f4, and I think I should play it. And this is like a classic King's Indian idea. To get this pawn chain, especially coming with tempo against this bishop, that's brilliant. We'll kick this bishop back to d2, which also makes c5 harder to accomplish. You could play a move like b6 to try and play against c5, but I think it probably makes more sense to play a move like knight d7 to prevent c5. And maybe even try and bring the knight in with the use of a5 to stop the pawn coming to b4. That's very common. And yes, I am definitely looking to attack on the king side. Something like g5, g4 at an appropriate moment is definitely very interesting. But I think we'll start with knight d7. Start with knight d7. So I'd like to bring the knight to c5. I'd like to play a5 to secure the knight, to make b4 more difficult to accomplish. He goes b4. Let's go a5. If a3, I don't really fancy taking that, because after take and take, I don't really want to... Sorry, if a3, take, I probably have to take, and then the queen can infiltrate, which I don't want to allow. Been to Cologne and Berlin, also visited Dortmund Stadium. Westfalen Stadion. Oh, okay. Westfalen is a region in Germany, I think. Okay, knight b5. Attacking the pawn on c7. Now, obviously, we don't have knight to a6 anymore. That's a rather good move. It's not easy to defend this pawn. Of course, if I go c6, I hang this. So I think I probably have to go queen back to d8, which you could say isn't ideal, but I really don't mind it because I want to support a pawn coming to g5 anyway. Like, this is no longer being taken, so I don't necessarily have to be so concerned about this knight. And if my opponent takes on a5, which he does, then I assume knight c5 should be a pretty nice move. So, sure, we sacrifice a pawn momentarily. Okay, bishop there, putting pressure on the knight. We could take this bishop. Which... Do I want that bishop? I feel like I do. I feel like I do want that bishop. Besides, my knight is kind of a goner. So we're down a pawn, but like this pawn isn't very impressive. If c5 occurs, there is pressure on d6 for sure. So we do have to consider that. So, how do we want to go about this? My opponent's got a nice setup here, to be fair. We could try and push forward with the pawn. Not sure how effective it is going to be. We could go bishop d7, but I'm not really sure I want to trade this bishop anyway. I think we should start pushing. If c5, we can also try and defend the d6 pawn with something like rook to a6, just keeping an eye on it. So if like c5, rook a6, take, the pawn is secure for the time being. I assume white will try and play on the c file there. And he's definitely doing the correct things against the King's Indian. But yeah, I assume if I can lift my rook up somehow, and in conjunction with my knight, my bishop, my queen, my rook on the king side, and this g4 move on the way, hopefully I can make something happen. I think we probably want something like rook f7, bishop f8, rook g7 at some point. So the bishop is defending d6, the rook is defending c7, and also looking down the g file. That is... I used to play the King's Indian an awful lot when I was younger, and that this type of maneuver was something that I would do a lot of the time, because this diagonal is never opening up. It's not going to open up. So the bishop doesn't really need to be here anymore. Since we've got so many pawns on dark squares, it makes sense to just have it as a defensive piece. So, okay, my opponent goes knight h2, trying to cover the g4 square, which makes sense. Knight to f6 looks relatively normal. He may be trying f3 in that position to lock everything up. So I'm considering just going rook f7, keeping an eye on c7, and preparing bishop to f8. probably bring my rook to g7 and prepare to move g4. I don't want to move my knight back to f6 to prepare g4 just yet, because I was thinking if I bring the knight back, he probably goes f3, and then I likely want to bring the knight into g3 regardless. So I might as well leave it here for the time being. If he attacks my knight or something with a move like queen f3, which I don't think is great anyway, then I can bring it back, because then there's no pawn f3. I can go g4. We can switch the rook and the bishop over. Okay, a4. Not entirely sure what that does. Okay, let's go bishop f8. So now if c5 occurs, firstly, maybe c5 can't even be played. But let's say he brings a rook to the c file and then goes c5. If this trade happens, d6 is defended rather nicely. I still have rook a6 if I want it. And the rook on f7 keeps an eye on the c7 square, which this knight or a rook often wants to come into. So we're preventing that as well. So now I probably want to go rook g6, rook g7, and prepare to push. Okay, rook a3 is interesting, trying to cover the third rank. Let's go rook g7. g4, I'm not sure I necessarily want to play it just yet, because if takes, I don't know. I'm not sold on that, but it's also not bad. Like queen f3, maybe queen g5, although I do have to keep an eye on c7 again. I may go c6 if there's an appropriate moment to kick this knight back. Although I am aware that if this trade occurs, the a pawn could become a problem, because it's now a passed pawn, and also d6 will be more vulnerable. But that's why we put our bishop on f8. Okay, queen e2. Keeping an eye on these squares. I assume now I probably go knight back to f6. If f3, maybe h5, g4. Yeah, I mean, our knight has to move no matter what. We can't execute g4 yet. So we'll have to bring the knight back to f6, which is not really a big problem. c5 has to come at some point, I would assume. Otherwise, the white position doesn't make too much sense. Like, this has to be the pawn break. I mean, we could consider b6. I'm just not sure I'm a massive fan of it. Point being that if take, we have a clamp on the c5 square. But maybe he can just go a5 and distract the pawn. I'm not sure. So, okay. This is no increment as well, by the way. So it's we could end up just timing our opponent out here. I think we very likely want to bring the queen in this way. The queen obviously went to e8, came back to d8, and I might be putting it back on e8. But now the rook is defending c7, so our queen doesn't necessarily have to do that job. The knight also sometimes comes back to e8 to cover these squares, and you can see that I'm putting a lot of effort into covering these squares in the position because they're important. So f3 on the board. Okay, we could look to do this maneuver, but I'm thinking if here, I'm not sure I actually like this trade very much. So let's go h5, taking some space, preparing g4. I mean, this is pure King's Indian, right? Like, just lobbing the pawns in front of my king, and yeah, the white king starts to run. Okay. Yo, A123, how's it going, mate? I'm doing very well. How are you doing? So, okay, we need to see, can we play g4, right? Okay, g4, takes, knight takes, pawn takes, queen h4 check, king back. I'm liking that. Let's do it. Yeah, this Adam is a very good player. I wouldn't be surprised if he has much better ratings on like Blitz or something. No. Wait, 400 Blitz? No way. He's way too good for 400 Blitz. Alright. So, the H file is now open. Can we open the G file? Now, G3 is a threat, forking the king and the knight. So, what can white do? He can continue to run away with his king. I'm considering knight h5 in that position, threatening a fork. Okay, takes. So here, we can take with the knight or the bishop. I think I don't know, it's not obvious. Knight or bishop? I think bishop, actually. Although, knight takes, bishop takes, queen moves, queen h4 check. Yeah, let's do this. I want to keep my rook keeping an eye on c7, so I want to leave it on the g7 square. Crazy how subtle the difference between a basic and a high or top level player can be. Small differences in strategy and vision make all the difference. Yeah, true. Okay, so now I was thinking that we go for this queen h4 check move. King g1, okay. Rook h7 looks rather nice, but if we do give some kind of check, the king can escape. So we need to try and find the best way in. I'm thinking f3 might be the way to go, because if takes, we have discovered checks against the king. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. I think we'll go f3. Why did you stop playing the Mengarini versus the Sicilian? I found it was a bit dubious. Like, I got pretty good results in it, particularly online. But it is objectively dubious, particularly for over-the-board play. So, I'd probably continue playing it online, but for over-the-board, I want something more solid, which I think the Alapin is. Alright, let's take on e4. That is now a free pawn. And we are applying pressure. I mean, we're threatening to take the rook for a start because the pawn is pinned to the white king. And, you know, we completely obliterate the defenses of the white king. And this is classic King's Indian stuff. Okay, I think we can give this check on b1 and pick up the bishop. If the king comes over here, theoretically, we could try and do this. But we can also go for a queen trade, but this is a free bishop, so let's just nab it. This doesn't do anything of significance. So yeah, this should be game. And also there's no increment, so yeah, he tries the sacrifice, but there's not really anything there. I'm going to try and cut the king off from its escape routes, and then we'll deliver a mate. GG. GG, Adam. You played incredibly well. You should be very proud of that game. Very proud of that game. It does have to... It probably is the world's best 700, to be fair. I would not have been surprised if he was like 1800 or something, you know? Let's do a quick review of the game, and then we'll hop into the next one as the challenges are coming in. Hello to everyone just joining. Hope you're all doing well. All right, so 70% accuracy for my opponent, 83 for us. Looks like I went slightly wrong around here. So after bishop d2, knight d7 is not the best. Knight a6 is better. Oh, because then we stop b4. Oh, right, okay, that makes sense. So knight d7 allows b4. And after a5 is incorrect because of knight b5. I have to say I missed this knight b5 move. Defending this pawn while at the same time attacking. That was a very nice find from Adam. So we have to go here, but then taking is wrong. c5 is kind of the way to break open the King's Indian, so he needed to go for that. So now we're equal. Bishop b4. Knight d3 is a mistake. Knight f6 is the move. I guess his bishop isn't very good. Hi from Kenya. Didn't know I got viewers from Kenya. How's it going, Jesse? So here, g5. Here, white needs to go c5, and I was going to play rook to f6. And I kind of was like, well, I've probably got to give this up. The engine actually likes this if I find f3. And if knight takes, knight f4, that's, yeah, really powerful. So knight h2, f3 is the move. Sacrificing the pawn to get the knight into f4. That's very interesting. So knight h2 is a mistake. Rook f7. Oh, the engine also likes rook f7. a4, bishop f8. This is a classic King's Indian maneuver. Queen e2 allows knight back to f6, and g4 is going to be unstoppable. Even after f3, h5 is on the way, g4 is on the way. He tries running away with king f2, which is not the worst idea in the world at all. But after g4, we have the major threat of pawn g3. If the king keeps trying to run, I mean, the engine here likes g3 because the knight is trapped. But let's just say the knight wasn't trapped. Even something like take, take, and take looks very winning. Very winning. So here after king f2, g4, take, 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 take. And after everything comes off the board, you know, my opponent is up a pawn. But then, you know, it is just a double pawn. It's not that impressive. But his king is completely exposed. Okay, rook h7 is the best move. I thought that we couldn't cover f2, which is why I rejected this idea. I think... What's the idea? Knight c7. Queen h2, king f2. Then I have rook c7, of course, but I don't really get it. There's no mate. So, okay, f3, he takes. And although this may not be the best way to go about the position, it's still completely winning. So, yeah, very good game to Adam. Played incredibly well. And let's jump into the next game against Emerald Fox. Emerald Fox. Didn't you play a tournament recently? Okay, goes for the Sicilian. Let's play the Alapin. I think he's done some preparation here. And I'll play this... There's two ways to play this. We'll start with knight f3, which is never a bad move. Never, ever a bad move. Knight c6. And here we have the interesting bishop c4. Not the main line. d4 is the main line. But I quite like this. After bishop b3, there's this interesting move c4, which he does go for. And after queen c7, we can actually sacrifice the pawn on e5. He doesn't go for it, though. He doesn't go for it. So let me see if I can remember. I think I just take and then castle. And although it looks weird that my pawn is back here, it's actually fine. So I think d4 might be the way to go, allowing en passant. But in all endgames, we will have this 3 versus 2 pawn majority on the queen side, which is important because the king is going to castle over here. And it can be quite difficult to stop the 3v2 for black. So he takes here. We can offer a queen trade, or we can take with the bishop. I think we should take with the bishop, although his queen is very good. Here, take, 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 take. That's quite nice. Okay, let's do it. Let's go for a queen trade. See if he accepts. I just think that if we get further into an endgame, the 3v2 should be quite strong. So he actually declines, and I assume he's trying to go bishop to f5. So I should probably drop my queen back to e2. And just apply some pressure on the e-file. And of course, with bishop f5, I'll now happily take. So bishop g7. Do we want the knight here? Here, here. Bishop e3. We can start with h3 to prevent bishop g4. That's one way we could do this. If knight a3, pawn a6, stopping knight b5. Yeah, my knight's not amazing there. It can't come to c2. Knight d2, castle. Maybe my knight's good on the e4 square, to be fair. Let's do that. And I also like this position because we have these pawns blunting the fianchettoed bishop. So I'm a fan of that. Okay, let's go knight e4. I'm not too concerned about bishop to g4, because after h3, the bishop can't retreat because g4 traps the bishop, which is common when there's a fianchettoed dark squared bishop. Most of the time, the light squared bishop has to trade itself off on f3. He may go bishop to f5, which is interesting, because now I, of course, can't take. Bishop f5, bishop e3. Okay, bishop g4. Let's go for this, I think. If take, take, knight e5, I assume I just drop the queen back. He could get a knight into c4, but I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't think it's that big a deal. It's a nice square, but we can pre-move this. We are slightly behind on the clock, so we need to speed up a little bit. There is 2-second increment, though. So, try and see if we can pull out the speed. Yeah, Emerald Fox is a very active member of the Discord, which you can join with the link below if you are interested. Okay. I mean, he could put his bishop back. He does, okay. Now what? Let's go rook d1. I'm definitely trying to play against knight d5. Let's go bishop to e3, applying pressure here. I could pop this bishop back to b3 if I want to get on this diagonal in the future. But I think we just have a nice position. My knight could come into c5. He just drops the bishop back, so it doesn't do anything just yet, but it could be difficult to kick away. I think I want to bring my bishop back to b3. So I feel like c4, d5, and f7 are important squares to be looking at. Also, he's getting lower on time. Okay, he goes bishop here, but now I have knight here. Bishop c4, maybe. Is that the idea? Yeah, I would assume so. Although, wait, if here takes... I think we're doing well there. Let's go knight c5. Oh, wait, no, sorry. The knight is blocked. Okay, that's a miscalculation. Alright, let's just go back. Go queen e1. That's a completely forgot the fact that my bishop doesn't see the knight anymore. I think it's fine, though. My queen's fine here. He could try take on b3, but... Sorry, on a2. Maybe b3 traps the bishop, though. I don't have to take back with the rook. If rook d1, I could go queen d1. Possible. Don't know if it's great, but it's possible. He's playing some good moves here. He's playing some good moves. I don't really ever want to go b3, because that weakens c3 massively. Okay, that's interesting. Okay. Let's offer him a bishop trade. I don't really want to do this, do I? Let's come back. Knight e4. I still have the pressure over here. Okay, knight c4. It's another good move. Queen e2, I assume. If takes. That's okay. This bishop is going to struggle. He's low on time. Okay, a6. Queen c5 looks rather nice. Queen c8. Okay. Now the queen is defended. Let's try and apply some pressure. Maybe knight c5. There's no rook d8. Oh, I just hung my knight. Oh, no. Just completely hung the knight. Okay, he didn't see it. That's very lucky. Okay. So we should have this 3-on-1 on the queen side, which should be rather nice. Let's try and sneak around the back. Okay, trade is fine with me. No problem at all. Push. Keep the bishop out. Let's go after this. Yeah, it's a good move. Okay. I still have a 2 versus nothing now. Let's start pushing. I want to keep his king out. My knight's stopping him from coming in. Let's push. Push. I want to come here to kick the king out. My opponent has put up a great fight this game, but I think it's coming to an end. I think I want my knight on b5. I think the knight on b5 is very strong. Also, I have a7. There we go. GG. Check. Take. Take. I assume he's going for a stalemate, but we're not going to give it him. And he resigns. Okay. Very, very strong game from Emerald Fox. Very good chess player. I'm pretty sure 1350 is underrated. Pretty sure that's underrated. Yeah, he's better in rapid, sorry. Better in rapid. Does he play rapid? No, he doesn't. Okay. Definitely feels underrated, but I think you only really play unrated games anyway. So I guess that makes sense. Also, I just realized I didn't share the live to the Discord, so I'm just going to do that quickly. Get the challenges in, please. But just going to send that over. Very, very well played. Very well played, mate. You did really well there. Oh, what's your Lichess ratings then? What's your Lichess ratings? Because I would assume they're pretty good. Because you definitely feel underrated. Yeah, the whole idea of bishop to c4 was quite nice. I should have put my bishop on b3 earlier on, I think. I did actually give the game away at one point as well. Oh yeah, of course, here, when I blundered my knight. That was rather silly. I assume this is a strong move. Yeah, that's what I should have gone for. And if rook here, we are completely winning after here, here, and here. So, okay, we gave the game away at that point, but other than that, it was pretty clean. Yeah, so I feel like somewhere around here, I should have gone bishop to b3. Engine here suggests bishop g5, but bishop e3 looks rather natural. I guess it's knight a5, though. Kind of like Panov attack style. But yeah, okay, very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, let's jump into the next game. Let's go against... Let's go Chess Arc. Of course, we can pre-move c6. Okay, knight f3, d5, e3. Okay. Let's just defend our pawn. Knight c3. I'm going to play this in like a semi-Slav sort of structure, like a triangle system. I used to play the Alapin though, so know the ideas. Yeah, clearly, because I mean, I've played games against, you know, 2,000 plus guys over the board who don't understand it as well as you clearly did that game. So very impressive. All right, this is just the main line of the semi-Slav. So we've transposed. Let's castle. Probably looking to take here, which I think I'll do now that we've made the bishop waste a move. And I think b5 is one of the key ideas. Something like a6, c5. Okay, h7 is defended, so I'm not too concerned. Do I go c5 immediately? Well, I guess if c5 take, and take, I hang the bishop. So I think we start with knight bd7, controlling c5 again. You can't go b4 because I take it. Let's go c5. And you can see how we have now given our bishop a way into the game because, you know, look at this position. Like, our bishop is completely locked out of developing in any manner, basically. But by playing this b5, a6, c5 idea, we give the bishop an incredibly active diagonal. And it could arguably be one of our most active pieces if we can do it properly. Having the bishop pair pointed towards the white king like that, maybe knight g4, could be very nice. Alright, pawn b3. Trying to fianchetto this bishop, I assume. Let's go bishop b7, probably rook to c8. What's my favorite time control? I don't know. Probably, maybe 60 plus 30, I'd probably say. I'm an old man, I guess. Alright, that feels wrong to me. So, if takes, I thought bishop e5 looked rather interesting. I guess there's knight back here, though. Okay. Well, I still think we should be taking this, no matter what. If e5 takes, I don't think that's great for white. So we could go e5, but then knight f5 looks very powerful. Knight e5 looks interesting, stopping pawn e5, hitting the bishop. Rook c8 looks interesting. If pawn e5... we control that square. Yeah, so let's go rook c8. There's several targets on the c file. Queen might be coming to b6 to apply pressure to this diagonal. The knight could come to c5 or e5 to put pressure on the light squares. e4, to be fair, we have pretty good pressure on e4. Particularly since we're pinning this knight. Hold on, does that not just blunder a piece? What am I missing? Yeah, I'm pretty sure that just blunders the piece after b4. I was expecting him to move the queen somewhere. Like queen d2 or something, and then bishop b2. Those sorts of things. But I guess if queen d2, maybe there was bishop to b4. And yeah, he still can't go e5. He still can't go e5. He still can't fork my pieces. Because, yeah, normally this knight should be on f3 to control the e5 square. So bringing it to d4 just felt a little bit off to me. Did feel a little bit off. And, yeah, now we get b4 in. This knight it just simply can't move. Simply can't move. I was also considering bishop e5 here. Hitting the knight and putting pressure on this knight. Obviously, the rook is also on the end of the diagonal. You know, something like bishop e5, knight f3, then b4. Because if take, I can just take. But it felt unnecessarily complicated. It's probably still completely winning, but just the immediate b4 also looks completely winning. So why make things unnecessarily complicated? Let's take. Bishop takes. Bishop e5 looks fine. I go knight g4 and try and be aggressive. There's no pawn e5. If pawn h3, queen h4, I guess there's knight f3 and f2 is covered. e5, I don't really want to allow the knight in here. Ooh, bishop a3 looks nice. Yeah, let's kick this rook off with the c file. Yeah. This is definitely very, very powerful. Because although we have just won a piece by using the pin on the c file, the queen is still on c2 and there is still a piece on c3. So now we can apply more pressure. e5 can never be played because knight d5. And I mean, yes, you can win this pawn, but so what? Queen c7? Queen c7 looks pretty nice. I mean, bishop b4 also looks good. Let's go queen c7. Oh, wait, sorry. I think I've just messed that up because the queen is well defended. So, yeah, the bishop can just move. Bishop b4 was definitely the way forwards, but okay, whatever. Bit inaccurate from me, but realistically, this is still completely winning because we are up a piece for a pawn. So something like bishop d2, I'll just trade queens. Okay, knight to f3, we can win the piece. My opponent is very low on time anyway. Let's take the knight. And take the rook. And I'm going to take with the pawn just to give my king some luft. Okay, he wins the knight, but then I checkmate him, so... yeah, my opponent times out. GG. Yeah, I definitely should have played bishop to b4. That was clearly the best move. Not really sure why I didn't play it, but accurate game. We did go slightly wrong here. a6 is a mistake. We need to go knight bd7 first. Okay, why? So a6 is bad because of e4. Oh, right. So we need the knight on d7. Because if e4, then we have e5. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Okay, noted. So rook e1, c5. Engine prefers bishop b7 first. And then here we are just doing much better. Take, bishop a3. Wait, queen c7 is the best move? Oh, only because the engine wants to sack the queen, though. Queen c7 is actually the best move. That's hilarious. So then I was thinking, okay, something like bishop to d2, and I probably just take, which isn't the absolute best move. The engine actually quite likes this, though. It prefers it to bishop b4, but realistically, bishop b4 would be the more practical option. So GG to my opponent. Let's jump into the next game. Let's go. Hope you're all enjoying the stream so far, by the way. Do you want more? Do you want more of this? Do you want more streams like this? Please let me know. Alright, Karo Khan. Let's go for a Tartakawa. He goes for the Alien Gambit. Okay, so we know what we play against the Alien Gambit, don't we? We go bishop to f5. We do not play h6. Knight to f3, we have to stop knight e5, so we go knight to d7. e6 is losing after knight to e5, bishop here. There's some really bad stuff. You want more streams like this? Okay. Okay, bishop d3, I mean, not very ambitious, but I assume we just trade. And then h6 looks rather nice. E6 also looks fine, though. I'm just going to go e6. Chill. h6 isn't going anywhere. If knight here, take, and d3 is a huge weakness. Let's go h6. He could take here. Okay, no, he doesn't. He goes back. I'm happy to trade. And this just looks like a very easy position, to be honest. What if you're not accepting the challenges, but only of the people you know? I don't know what you mean, mate. Don't know what you mean, sorry. Okay, we could go bishop to d6. Queen d5. Pawn c4. I think we're giving white a bit too much play there. We could probably just construct a battery, to be fair. And I mean, it's not like this bishop can come to g5 anyway. I'm half expecting knight to e5, but not yet. Because if he goes for it now, then take, and the d3 pawn again is very weak. It's a horrible backwards pawn. We could go for knight d5, but I'm not sure I actually want this bishop right now. Let's just castle. Potentially prepare this maneuver. Could go queen c7. I think we'll try and play this in like a Tartakawa style. With queen c7 maybe. I don't know. Queen c7, rook d8? Interesting. But also bishop c7, queen d6. I'm just thinking, like, what do we do against knight e5? Because do I want to go f6? Knight back and, like, why is my pawn on f6? That's assuming I can move my knight in the first place. So, okay, let's go queen c7. f4, I think, is quite an important square, particularly if I can get my knight there. And I also want a rook on d8. We don't want to allow d5 ever to be successful. So, of course, we're stopping that. Okay, cool. So if you guys want more streams, I can do more streams. Absolutely. Queen d2. Doesn't that just fail to knight g4? I'm assuming he's looking for sacrifices on h6. Whoa. g3. Okay. I can take this bishop, but I'm also not in a rush because the bishop can't move anywhere. So I was also threatening h2, of course, with 3 attackers versus 2 defenders. So I think just rook d8 looks fine. Maybe this rook. Let's use this rook. Maybe I want this on c8. I might well just double up, though. If knight e5, I just win the knight. Okay, he goes h3. I wasn't sure about this move, because look at how weak g3 is. So firstly, we're thinking, oh, okay, if take, 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 maybe there's ideas, but the queen can always block. So let's take this bishop. I don't think we actually have a tactic here. Because if bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, king h1, queen h3, there's no knight h2 because the queen hangs, so I guess the king goes back. Actually, no, I think we should go for that. I think we should. Even if this isn't actually completely winning, we get 3 pieces for the pawn guaranteed. And my rook can try and lift up to f5 or h5. It's also just fun. It's a fun move, and I feel like we should play it. Because, again, I don't think there's much risk involved. It was easy to calculate. Again, you can't go here because of this. Okay, my opponent offered me a draw. I do not want to draw. Let's give another check, and then I'm going to try and lift the rook over. Because there's no knight block, because the queen hangs. I think this ends the game. Because if he tries something like rook d2, okay, that's a very good move. So here. Have to say I didn't consider that. Also f7 could be weak. Opponent has offered me another draw. I'm not sure I want to draw, mate. Let's give a check. Knight blocks. f2 is under attack. Do I trade and play the endgame? Not sure. Not sure. I could just come back, but then I get counterattacked. Here, maybe? No. No, of course not. I think I have to take this. And play this endgame. So we have a lot. I mean, we have 3 versus nothing on the king side. Alright, let's double up. I'm very low on time, though. I need to think a lot. Take. I'm not sure if this is the best plan, but... push. I don't know if this is good or not. No idea. Okay, this is looking rather nice now. It's 4 versus nothing. If here, then check. Yeah, GG. Ooh. There we go. There we go. That, yeah. As Long John is saying, these types of endgames where there's like this weird material imbalance, it's like, it's equal material, but it's 3 pawns versus a knight. It's very difficult to judge who wins this, and realistically, anyone can win this. Analysis says that the black position is better. I kind of thought the engine would prefer our position, but, you know, if I blunder one knight fork, if I lose one of my pawns, I might be completely lost. But I was thinking as well, 3 versus 2, but my king is over here. These pawns are not too bad. But 4 versus 0, best case for white, he can sack a knight for 2 pawns. So I was thinking, after I played f5 here, he might try this. But I was like, well, nah, because he can never win either of these pawns. Because if he takes this, this pawn promotes, and my king can come and clean up. So I'm just going to do a quick analysis, because the opening was great. We completely nullify the alien gambit. 94.8% accuracy. Lovely. So yeah, as I say, I don't like to take. I like bishop to f. I don't like to play h6. I like to just let white do what he wants to do. And then once the moment's gone, then we can go for this, because this doesn't really work anymore. He could actually go for this line, which is interesting, but he's not going to know any theory here because this is completely offbeat. So I think I'd be okay there. Now, what I want to see is, what does the engine think of my sacrifice? Okay, it's a brilliant move. It's c5 is strong as well, but they're basically the same evaluation. So I figured, okay, we win 2 pawns. Rook d5. Queen f2 is basically one of the only defensive moves. So we give a check. Knight h2. Take. Rook d8. And we're just slightly better. Trading is fine. Position is completely equal. After king g2, we're better, though. Like, it's so hard to say how white holds this. The engine says white has to go knight b5 or knight b3. After knight b5, a6, knight d6, pawn b5, knight b7. And this is the only way, apparently. Knight c5. Basically, what? Just forcing my pawns forwards? And then white is better somehow? Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay, well, very good game. Very good game. Let's go on to the next one. Let's go on to the next one. A lot of challenges in. Let's go Mike Chess Rapid. This is not a rapid game, but alright, we have a French defense. I'm going to play the exchange variation. And we'll go for the Monte Carlo, which I've recently been playing and rather enjoying. So knight f6, knight c3. It's kind of like a Panov attack against the Caro, but just against the French instead. Let's develop. c5 is often a move if the bishop comes to d6 to try and squeeze. Okay. Let me just think a second. Because there are lines where this is good. c5 also looks interesting. If bishop e2, bishop here, pawn takes. Am I just down a pawn? I think so. So I have to be slightly careful. If queen b3 takes. Yeah, that looks good. Let's go queen b3. This is also similar to, again, a Caro-Kann Panov, where oftentimes this bishop coming to f5 or g4 can be punished with queen b3, applying pressure to b7 and the pawn on d5. Now, normally in a Panov, this pawn would be gone, and it would be on e7 or e6. So the structure is slightly different, but a lot of the same ideas apply. Now, he takes on f3, so I thought I could take here. So if he saves the bishop, I'll take his rook. That's the idea. And yeah, if he does this, then I can take, I assume. And then c6 is also weak. a7 is weak. We're up a pawn, but I am aware they are doubled. I am very aware. If takes, I assume bishop takes, and then there's good pressure over here. If queen e7 check, bishop e3 looks good. There's no knight g4, and the rook is under attack. If rook b8, I assume queen c6, although maybe rook c8. Okay, queen c8 offering a queen trade. I feel like I should accept that. I feel like I should accept that queen trade. Not like I can really retreat. And then c5 I quite like the look of. And then you can see we have this 4 versus 3 on the queen side that should materialize into something later. At least that's my plan. I think bishop f4. I can always come back to e3, but for now I might as well control b8. Bishop h3 looks nice. But I think it's probably better to go bishop a6. This rook is not a very happy chappy. It can't go to either of the squares it wants to go to. And it's got to be careful, because if rook a8, I probably just have bishop b7 picking up the c6 pawn. So rook d8 looks like the move. I mean, I could even go here and force it to e8, but I don't think I have to. King d2 looks viable. Castles looks viable. B4 looks reasonable. Just playing for a quick b5. Yeah, let's go b4. I'm not sure what I want to do with the king just yet. Whether it's castles or king d2, I'm not sure. If knight h5, he does go for knight h5, hitting my bishop. I could go bishop c7. I could go bishop e3. I don't really want to give him the b8 square for the rook, though, so I probably want to come in. And then this knight isn't very good. And then king d2 looks very reasonable. So I don't want to get hit with a discovered check. Although there's bishop g5 there. And then like here and knight here. I don't like that. So let's castle. We are controlling the important squares for the rooks. Probably want to challenge him. b5 is on the way. If takes, I might have knight d5. Yeah, that's also good. Now, I do have this, trapping the rook. But I don't really want to give everything else up. So let's just defend our pawn. I choose this rook because if I use this rook, then this rook is still vulnerable on a1. b5 is on the way. Even bishop b7 looks interesting. But I guess if takes, maybe does this. Okay. Rook e6. b5? Looks right. Let's do it. Discord link. Oh, did I not link the Discord? Okay, remind me and I will do it after this game. I'll put the link in the description. It's in the description of like all of my other videos if you want to go find that quickly. It should be in the description of this video. Although I might have forgotten. Whoa. Okay. Okay, it's a move. It's a move. So if takes, rook takes hits the bishop and this bishop, so I don't like that. I could go b6 and go for this, but I don't love that. Let's go bishop b7. Trying to force him to do something. My bishops look very silly, but I think they're actually quite strong. Okay, cb5. Bishop d5, hitting the rook. Is this rook just trapped after bishop d6? There's so many problems in the black position now. And everything should come together. And yeah. Okay, b4. Sure. If he wants to do this, that is fine by me. I'll fix my pawn structure. I have a feeling he's not going to do that, though. Because that would be very kind. Oh, he does. Okay. Well, that's just even better, because now I have the bishop pair still, and I'm up the exchange. These moves are on the way. Push. Here. Let's just push. Take. And then I'm just going to try and go c7 and end the game. And I mean, I've got more pawns to come. More pawns to go. You can have this, but I'll just push, so. Okay. I'm going to go f4 to keep the knight out. Try and be really cruel. Okay. Let's push. He's giving his knight away back into the game. Okay, that's fine by me. Oh, wait, no, there is this. That's interesting. So I guess I'll have to come back so that I can take back without my rook hanging. It's a nice move. Okay. Check. Take that. And let's try and just mate the king. With a check. He always has this square, so there's no stalemate. And then we have checkmate with rook h6. GG. GG. Well played. And that's why I like the French Monte Carlo. That's why I like the Monte Carlo. I have a lot of fun in it. Big fan of the opening, and hopefully you can see why. All right, let me just check. Is my Discord link not in the description? No, it isn't. Okay, let me find it. Let me find it. Get the challenges in, guys. Let me just come find the Discord link. It's in like all of my other videos. Completely forgot to put it in this. But yeah. All right, it should be here. Give me one second.
Imagine being able to build an app with your name on it.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear that. Sorry. Hey? No, I didn't mean to do that. Hey up. Hey up. Go to YouTube Studio. Give me a second, guys. Yeah, good game, mate. Good game. Oh, was that no, I'm bugging. Yeah, that's how I like to play against the French defense, because like in the Caro, it gives like an open center position, which a lot of people find uncomfortable if they play the French or the Caro, because those are very closed center openings typically. So, okay, yes, the Discord link is now in the description, so if you want to join, you can. Also, I just realized they haven't been updating the thing. How many games have we played? Let me check. Let me check. And then we can update the graphic. You guys didn't even remind me. What the hell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and we have won them all. So let's whack that there. There we go. Yeah, the Monte Carlo is tough. The Monte Carlo is tough. I play it over the board as well, and it does rather well. All right, next game. That's a name I don't recognize. Heber. Heber. Let's go. Do you do some rematch? Yeah. Okay, let's play a Caro. See what he goes for. The advance. Okay, let's go bishop f5. You didn't read my comment. You said always nice to be able to talk to you, pick your brains and all. I did read that, mate. I did read that. Okay, he goes for the Tal variation. One of the more aggressive lines. Bishop g5. Yeah, this is a very interesting one. So, I'm going to play the main move. Can I remember all the lines? I don't know. Let's take this. And then I think it's... How does it go? It's like e6, c4. Is it c4 immediately? Your comment before that. Maybe they don't play much blitz. Updating the win counter. Oh, yes, you did. You did. My bad, mate. My bad. You did. You did. Okay, knight f3. Now, the question is, can I take? I don't know. I don't know. Castles, takes. Knight c3. 3, queen here, rook here. That's very risky. I think c5. I think c4 is the move here. And things just get a bit crazy. Things get a little bit crazy. So if c4, if queen b2 takes. I don't know. It's very scary. This is why the tile variation is very good. Because, I mean, you have to go c4. If white goes c3 here, he kind of lets me off the hook. He's got to explode the center. That b2 pawn looks poisonous. Yeah, it does look poisonous. It really does. And the thing is, I have to go queen b6 in response to bishop g5 because I need to go e6. Okay, that looks incorrect to me. Because now I get c4. And that might not look like a big deal. In fact, in most variations, c4 is not a very good move. The reason I'm so happy to see c4 on the board, though, is because now white can't go c4. And that means that the center stays shut, and my king should be safe. Is that queen just... Okay, it's almost trapped. It's almost trapped. It has e3. Yeah, okay. Queen e3. Let's go knight e7, trying to come into f5 with tempo. If c3, I guess I just have knight to f5. And my bishop has a5 anyway, but I kind of want to drop it back here because it doesn't do anything on a5. Let's drop back. If takes, I'm half tempted to go king takes, to be honest. I think I will. b2 is currently defended by the queen. I mean, the center is shot, so I think my king is perfectly safe. Queen c2. Okay. I guess he wants to go knight d2 without hanging the pawn. I want to play for g5. I'm not sure if I can, though. Let's go knight d7. I assume he's going to go b3 at some point. I would assume. I don't want to go f6, do I? That looks very silly. Let's go queen c6. I want to meet b3 with b5, I think. I think that's what I want to do. Keep my center nice and tight. If a4, a6... I think this is fine. g6 and my position is just secured. There's no g4. And then I can play on the queen side. If he goes b4, which is interesting... Okay, no, he takes. Well, I like that. I like that. My king looks very safe. b4, okay. I think g6 makes sense. My queen also defends a8, so that's useful. a5, okay. Take here. Here. That's interesting. Could go for this. That is quite nice. So if he doubles up, knight a4, trying to shut off the a file, and then I can reopen it whenever I want. And try and annoy him with that. This structure looks pretty impenetrable for us. Pretty impenetrable. Okay, let's go knight to a4. I don't think any sacrifices make any sense. Because again, I can always go rook a8 defended by my queen. His rook... I don't know. I might be winning a pawn if he's not careful. Why not make the video into portrait form? Well, because I kind of prefer it like this. I mean, I don't know. Do people prefer it portrait? I can run a poll, but I feel like people prefer this. Okay, there could be discoveries on the rook, but if here the queen takes and defends. Let's run the king over this way for now, while I try and figure a plan out. Take. That can't be played. G4 I'm not too scared of. Okay, brings the knight. Makes sense. I'm going to go queen b7 just to keep an eye. That's a good move. It's a good move. I think I have this, though. Wait, no I don't. No I don't. No I don't. I'm bugging. Okay, I'm very low on time now. I'm in trouble. I thought I had tactics, but I didn't. G4, I assume, is on the way. C3 is weak, which is useful. I need to bring my rook back into the game somehow. I shouldn't have put it there. I could go for an exchange sack. Oh my god, I just timed out. Oh, GG. Yeah, I'm just completely lost. I'm completely lost. Wait, does this it works? It works. So the point is, if this, then take, and I'm winning. If knight takes, I go up the exchange. The problem was, if rook A8, I couldn't figure this out. I have to here find knight e4, and after the rook retreats somewhere, this is winning, apparently. I guess because of the passed c-pawn. Oh, very, very well played from my opponent. I didn't play that properly. I thought we were doing rather well after c4, though. Was c4 incorrect? It was. c4 is wrong. I want cd4. And if knight d4, knight... Yeah, I guess that makes sense, actually. I think I just got spooked, because the main move here is c4, and I know that. And here, these positions are really hard to play. Very well played, mate. Very well played. Very good player. I wonder if... Oh, we have played before. We have played before. You're on a bit of a win streak by the looks of it, so fair play. Let's update the text. But yeah, the tile variation is very difficult to play against. It's very difficult. Yeah, my idea of knight c3 was correct. I just executed it completely wrong. I should have gone for it. Okay, okay. I just got too low on time, so we'll try and fix that. Let's try and play more quickly. It's difficult with Blitz, though, when I'm trying to explain my moves. So maybe we can get some longer games in for the next one. Okay, we've got a fantasy. Let's go e6. Yeah, Christian, that is true. That is true. The pawns are very weak. It's just a difficult decision to make, especially when my king isn't particularly safe. This is what I like against the fantasy. It's what I recommend in my course. After knight c3, we go bishop to b4. And basically, we're trying to set up ideas of take and queen h4 in certain lines. Yeah, bishop b3 is one of the ways to go about this. I think, is it take and knight here? Is that it? I'm sure we're supposed to take this and open up some lines. If check... I think there's an issue with that. Like here, here, here? I don't know. Check. What am I missing? Because there's a lot of lines where white can sack the pawn. Is it? I think it's king d2 maybe. No. Take, bishop d3, take. Okay, what happens on knight f6? Bishop d3. I guess. Knight g4 though? I know taking is often a move, and like queen a5 stuff. I think giving the check makes sense. Bishop f2. What am I missing? Really? Really? So now we're just up a pawn. I mean, I get that our bishop isn't very good, but this does feel a bit wrong for white. I mean, my bishop will eventually make it out, but does it even have to? I just do this and bring the rook to d8? Maybe. So if this, I don't like that. Start with knight here. Maybe we can try and play e5. If not, we can always just bring the knight in like this. I think this is nice. And yeah, we're up a pawn. Feels like we've diffused the position a bit. Let's drop back to d6. Because we have these pawns on light squares, I don't want to be trading off my dark square bishop prematurely. It is doing a great job of monitoring the squares that my pawns are not monitoring, namely e5 and c5, and one of those will likely be a way to break open the position. Okay. Probably trying to come into e4. I would assume... I don't really want to take this. I think I just want to do this. So if knight here, knight takes, I can give a check on f4, but bishop e7 seems easier. Exclamation mark join. Does that do anything? I don't know how to set up channel commands, so... Okay, bishop d3. Let's offer a trade. If takes, I probably take with the c-pawn, I think. This bishop can't really move because of this. This is nice. I like this. If knight e4, I just take. That's fine. Yeah, I don't think that it does anything, mate. But... okay. Okay. Knight over. Let's take that. Again, I can give this check. But I don't really know if it does anything. Just king moves. So I think I just drop the bishop back. I don't really want to trade it off. At least not yet. Knight f4 is an idea. I need to find a way to get his bishop into the game, probably. Okay, g4. Alright. Fianchetto followed by c5 looks very nice. I mean, I just don't really see the danger on my king. I mean, with no queens on the board, I don't see how there are any major threats. That's Fianchetto. Oh, Roger Barron. Oh, mate, great to see you. Oh, what a lovely guy. This guy is a lovely fella. Lovely fella. All right. Well, now he's taking his eyes off of c5. Let's start with rook ac8. c5 is what I want to execute. Now, I know that it will involve me trading off my dark squared bishop, but it would open up my light squared bishop, so I think it's worth it. Again, you know, he can put the bishop on e5, and he has pieces pointing at my king, but I don't really think they do anything. At least not yet. I always have f6 if I need it. Okay. Take here. Interesting. I mean, I don't have to take, because if take, I can always take with the knight. What about c5? Pawn takes. Yeah, I suppose. I've got to be careful. I think I'm going to take this. I don't really want to, but I think it's the easiest option. I think it's the easiest option. h7 is fine, f7 is fine. c5 is on the way. Most likely. C4. Okay. Let's drop back to E7. F6, I feel like I'm maybe a bit vulnerable. So I'd rather E7, I think. D-file could be useful. Maybe he's going for C5 to lock the knight in. Maybe that's his idea, which would be interesting. Playing good moves. Okay, let's get my bishop out of danger. I want to go C5. Let's execute it. D5. No. Okay, let's hit the knight. Takes, rook takes. I think my rook's okay over here. Hope so. This is good. No! Oh my god, I blundered mate. No, dude. I'd done that so well. I just need to go E2. Oh, of course. Because I just have King F8. And, oh no, man. Oh, no. GG to my opponent. Oh, I just needed to push the E-pawn. God damn it. Just needed to push the E-pawn. Yeah, because the thing is, I was thinking, well, okay, this is fine, because if rook d8, which the engine does actually want, I have rook f8. And even if this is okay for white, which it only is if you find this, then I'm alright. I have to king h8. It's still a bit weird, though. Yeah. Were there any easier wins? That's good. That's good. Engine prefers rook h3. And if double up, oh, then I have this, I assume. I didn't consider that. That makes my life a lot easier. That's really frustrating. GG to my opponent. Played a very good game, for sure. But yeah, that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks. Maybe... No, I should have just found the moves, shouldn't I? E2 made a lot of sense. E2 made a lot of sense, because there's no rook f7 check. That's the whole point. Because my rook was on f2 covering the f7 square. Alright, aborted the game. Okay, let's play against Nicholas then. Let's open with e4. Okay, we have a Caro, so we'll play the Panov, because that's what I like against the Caro. Again, same with the Monte Carlo, but, I mean, slightly different, but similar concept, trying to open the center up quickly to get the other person out of their comfort zone. We're just basically just launching pawns at the d5 square to destabilize the position. Bishop g5 is the move I like. Maybe 5 mins is a better time control. Yeah, I am much better at like longer time controls. The shorter the time control, the worse for me personally. But okay, I thought this was wrong for black. I've actually seen this in an over the board game before. I didn't play it. It was in a team game, and one of the higher boards on my team played it with the black pieces. But it's not a very good line, if I remember correctly. But I don't think his opponent punished him properly. I don't think he played the line that I just played. I think he might have dropped the bishop back or something, which I don't think he's supposed to do. The point is, this knight doesn't really have many moves. I mean, that's the basic premise of this. 95, I think bishop f4, or was it queen here? No, I think it's queen d4. If knight d3, I just win a pawn. If queen a5, I have bishop d2. I mean, theoretically, you can go knight to c6, because if takes, then takes. But I guess I then just go for something like queen e4, then the knight is under attack. So that's not really that big a deal. I should end up a pawn, basically. Where else can this knight go? There was... yeah, I think f6 is the move. It's a bit bad, though, isn't it? Like, to be exposing the king like that. Also, can I just do this? Here, here, check here. If takes and check first, then I can bring this back. I think that's fine. I think worst case, I'm just up a clean pawn. Yeah, the pawn in e4 is just too big of a weakness, really. So the point is, the f pawn is overloaded. And as long as this check doesn't come with any major problems, which I don't think it does, because either my bishop can block, or if my queen ends up on e5, the queen can block, then it should be fine. And then we can just carry on and be better. So what else can black play? I'm not sure, because I don't have an immediate threat, to be fair. I'm not threatening to win the knight, but I guess I just want to go bishop d2 and chill. And then, you know, this f6 pawn is really not a good look for black. Maybe 6. Okay. Counter-attacking. Sure. Can I queenside castle? Bit risky. Bit risky. Bishop b3, queen b2. That doesn't really look that good. I could go pawn b3. Then maybe takes. And if takes queen here, I don't have queen c3. That's true. That's true. Bishop c1 is not a move I want to play. Rook b1, I'm not sure about, because the bishop might end up on f5. I don't know, maybe rook b1 is fine. Let's go for it. Let's go for it. I just want to consolidate. c4 is defended. That's no problem. I think he just missed that my bishop defends. Yeah, and he resigns. Unfortunate, mate. I think I made a wrong move, though. What was the wrong move? So, GG to my opponent. Yeah, it's definitely a difficult... I was going to say, difficult opening to face. The Panov is tough. So here, d5, knight e5. Queen d4 is right. f6. Queen e4 is right. Here, I need to go not rook b1. Whoa. Black is better after rook e1. No way. I should be going c5? And if queen b2, then rook b1? Queen a2, knight e2. What on earth? And if queen c5, rook... No, not rook c1. Bishop e3. Queen a5, bishop d2, queen b6. This is very complicated. Very complicated. GG, Nicholas. GG. Okay. Okay. Let's go for the next game. Let's go Long Johnny. Slightly longer game here. Let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Come on, mate. All right, we have the English. Let's play like a modern. Let's play a modern. Let's do that. Let's go f5. Why not? Play an interesting position. Let's try and get him out of theory. Apparently this is the Great Snake. Okay. Sure. Go knight c6. Just castle. Play this like a Dutch. e5. e4. Do I take that? I think so. Pawn takes. Then we go e5 and like d6. And this bishop absolutely sucks. You can get a knight onto d5, but even so, I don't think it's that big a deal. Castle. I like this position. Go d6. Bishop to g4, maybe? Bishop e6 also looks reasonable. If knight d5... No, he doesn't... Whoa. b3. Okay, sure. I want to probably get a knight to c5. I think that's the plan. Bring this knight over. If knight here, I'd probably take with the bishop, although I guess I'm not in a rush. Bishop e3. Okay, so... Playing for c5? I could go b6. f4 looks slightly disconcerting. I'm going to go knight d7, so on f4, my bishop can open up. Also, trying to play against this. Yeah, I feel like I should be taking. If this pawn takes, c7 gets very weak, though. So perhaps not. A4 looks interesting, but I'm not sure it's really the best strategy. King h8 looks reasonable. Just getting the king to a slightly safer square. Maybe queen d2 for him. This is interesting. King h8 is just a waiting move, though. It has no substance to it. Maybe b6, knight c5. Maybe that's the way to go. Get the knight to c5, and if bishop takes, I have b takes. Yeah, and then I get knight d4. Yeah, no, that's quite powerful. I think that makes sense. Okay, rook c1 looks like it's preparing pawn f4. Because now after takes, there's no rook hanging in the corner. Let's go knight c5, applying some pressure to the center. Perhaps a4 on the way. Here goes f4. There we go. Is it a big deal if he takes? I don't think so. Do I want to take him? I don't know about that. a4, b4. Takes isn't the best. Do I snap this knight? I feel like I should snap the knight. My knight is covering the c file, so c takes isn't so bad anymore. Oh my god, I've completely blundered that. Oh no, that's a horrific blunder. That's a horrific blunder. That's so bad. Yeah, I think I'm just completely lost. I mean, I don't see how I have play. Oh my god, that's so bad. That's really obvious as well. That's really bad. Yeah, I don't know what to do now. Maybe I should have gone king h8 earlier when I mentioned it. I just didn't think it was necessary, but yeah, clearly it would have been useful. Oh my god. What a horrendous move. Also, taking makes no sense. Yeah, I'm just going to resign this. There's no way I bring that back. All I need to do is not take that knight, and I'm fine. Like, ef4 is fine. gf4, queen d7. This is basically all I need to do. And then my position's pretty good. Ay. GG to my opponent. Yeah, I just completely missed that idea. But he had a strong position. He made my life difficult there. I feel like I came up with the right plan. 97, 90. Yeah, this is very reasonable, but it's executed in the complete wrong way. Ah, God. Okay. Okay. I think my opponent sent me a rated challenge. Please do not send rated challenges, because I gain a grand total of 0 ELO if I win this. Which would hurt my ego, for sure. Alright. Oh, I can't believe I blundered that. Even king h8, although it wasn't the best move, would have been completely reasonable. Just gotten rid of any tactics in the future. Yeah, queen d7 would have been a perfectly good move. Perfectly good move. Alright, so my opponent takes here, giving me the isolated queen-pawn structure, which can be difficult, but, like, for white, but not always. Okay, bishop f5. Again, normally you can punish that with a move like queen to b3, as I mentioned earlier. So first we should consider if there's any, like, sacrifices, but I don't think so. If queen b3, queen d4, yeah, I mean, this just looks very nice. Bishop f7 has to be strong. So yeah, if e6, queen b7, queen here takes, I mean, that just looks like game over. It's very risky to bring this light squared bishop out in these Panov lines. Very, very risky. We'll see if my opponent can get away with it, but I am not particularly hopeful for him, to be honest. Let's see, though. Let's see. If e6, again, I'll just take. There's just two things under attack, and I don't see how you defend both of them, basically. I mean, yeah, in this position, normally you want something like knight to c6 for black, or e6 is reasonable as well. I don't like e6 from the black side, because this bishop kind of sucks, but... Okay, it takes on d4. Let's take on f7. Force the king to the d file, and then I thought bishop e3 was very strong, preparing rook d1 check. I might be able to win more material through, like, queen b7 ideas, but this to me seems like the most concrete way to win this. Because the black queen has not really any aggressive squares to go to. Like, she can go to g4, I guess, trying to attack, but... Okay, yeah, and then we'll just go for this. Rook d1 with a pin. And I don't see a way out. Don't see a way out for black. Bishop d3, sure. Holds for the time being, but maybe just a simple knight f3? I don't know. This actually looks like an interesting move. Yeah, let's go for it. The point is I'm trying to get a queen trade because this is just going to be unstoppable. I notice a lot of your opponents when you are white are playing mundane openings, not seeing any modern style openings where black gives white early control of the center before challenging it. Well, the hyper-modern openings I think are becoming less popular, to be fair. I don't really know why. I mean, personally, I'm not a massive fan of the hyper-modern openings. myself from the black side. I guess the more quote-unquote mundane openings are just... maybe they just make more sense. Maybe they're more concrete, and they just seem easier to play. At least that would be probably the reason that I like the more concrete openings, where you challenge white in the center immediately. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would assume most people, even when hypermodern openings were popular, I think most people played like mundane openings, if you want to call it that. So yeah, my point of getting the queen trade was simply that this pin is now like unbreakable. The bishop can't move. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be loads of ways to win this position. Knight b5 is probably winning, just opening up the queen's attack. Bishop c4 is going to be completely winning, just attacking the bishop. Knight f3, knight e5 is probably completely winning. But this just seemed easy. Get the queens off the board, go up a piece, and then we'll convert. Let's take. Could have thrown in a check, but it doesn't really matter. Not like the check's going anywhere. The bishop on e6 is also quite nice because it blockades the e-pawn. So this bishop is going to struggle to develop as a result of that. Check here. Are we just mating him? Because now he doesn't have the c6 square, and our pieces are suffocating the king. He's going to be forced back, and then bishop f4 probably leads to mate because there's no pawn e5. So here and then here should end the game. Or even here and then here would also end the game. I guess I probably had the fancy move if rook d8, knight takes, and then bishop here, but yeah, realistically, it doesn't really matter. GG to my opponent. Yeah, the Panov is very tricky. Very, very tricky. And I mean, I believe this is just a bad move, and yeah, already we're basically winning. After queen b3, the best move is e6, giving up the b7 pawn, and then going knight bd7, just being down a pawn. Kept trying to get Nelson Lopez to play the check perk, but he doesn't know any of the theory, and by move 10 he's in trouble. Yeah, the perk is tough, or the pits, if you want to pronounce it like that, which I think is the proper way, but... Okay. Next game. Let's go Tokon. What are we going to get? An English. Okay. Let's play a reverse Sicilian. Now, I don't know any of the theory, but we'll play it anyway. See if he goes e4 or not. Okay, the 4 knights. e3. I literally have no idea what I'm doing, but I'm just going to try and be chill with d6. Maybe a fianchetto in castle. Let's do this. If d4, I can play it like a King's Indian and invite him into d5. d4, a5. Yeah, I think I want to invite him into a King's Indian style structure. So let's go a5, inviting d5. That'll be interesting. Then we go like knight e7, knight d7, f5, something like that. No, he doesn't want it. Fair enough. Queen e8, maybe? Do I want to take this? Take, rook e8. Yeah, that should be fine. That should be fine. Our bishop is actually pretty well placed, to be fair. Let's go rook e8. Maybe bishop f5. Our light squared bishop is probably the problem piece in this position, but... Okay, bishop d3. Sure. I could go d5. Try and get him into an isolated queen pawn position. I like that. If he goes c5, then d4 is going to be pretty weak. This is quite a similar structure to my prep. Tokon is saying my prep in the chat. I guess I just completely went out of all of his preparation by playing this. Which, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm not really playing any real theory. Queen a5. Yeah, true, Christian. There are some interesting Queen a5 lines. Okay, c5. Now, can I get away with knight e4? I think so. Opening this up. If takes, I win a piece. And the d pawn is potentially a weakness. I can also play f5, be quite aggressive. Which looks interesting. I could take the knight, but I'm not really sure why. Seems kind of pointless. I do have bishop f5. I do have queen f6. That hangs this. Let's go f5. Maybe f4 at some point. This just feels quite interesting to just take a massive, massive center with our D and F pawns. By contrast, this could be quite weak. Okay, queen b3. Sure. b7 is defended. He's attacking d5, though. So maybe I have to go knight back here to defend. I'd rather not, but I don't think I have much of a choice. If here, I think that's okay. c6 will bolster the defense. And then maybe I can play for f5 and... Sorry, f4 and knight f5. Am I blundering a pawn? Oh, I might be blundering a pawn. I have to take, and take. I can't take because of the pin. I can throw in a4, but I don't think it works because the queen just goes back to a2. Okay, we'll see if he finds that. He may just go knight to e5, but I think I'm blundering a pawn. Bishop takes is probably a better version for us. Knight takes e4. Pawn takes, bishop takes, c6. Okay, he does it this way. Maybe on c6 he wants knight d6. I thought I could go for a move like bishop f5 here. I could also throw this in. I think I probably should. Because the queen has to go back to a2. If she doesn't, then the pin is broken and I win the knight. Go rook f8, threatening this, this, and this. Yeah, looks reasonable. Bishop g5, I guess, is probably a move. I'm just trying to create some complications, because I know I'm worse here. Okay, he goes knight back to c3. Yeah, now I can go for this. And we create complications in the position. We can go like c6 and knight to f5 at a later date, but his queen is completely out the game on a2 now. That surprises me. That surprises me. I didn't think he was going to take it. Alright, well, once I get c6 in, I'm balling. Alright, king g2. Where do I want to put the rook? Probably f7. I want this square for my knight, in case I want to put the knight there. But let me just fix my lighting. I think that's okay. Can I ignore him? No, I think I have to take. Yes, b7's under attack. c6 takes. Knight here takes. Check. Not convinced. I feel like I want to sack the b pawn. Just feels right to me. Feels right. he doesn't take it now, then I go knight f5. Yes, he does take it. Let's go rook b8. Let's infiltrate. c6 is defended. Okay, let's attack. Knight h4 on the way. My queen's covering h2, which is important. He might have to sack his queen. Then I mate him anyway. Just take that. Come back. Uh-huh. Let's defend. Might not be the most accurate, but trying to play simple. He's got himself out of this, hasn't he? Go on, play king h2. Play king h2. Okay, my opponent times out. That's a bit of a relief. I don't actually know who's winning here. Okay, so after this... Okay, that's wrong. I should just take. And if this... Bring the king? And if he keeps pushing, bishop a7. I was scared of rook b1. I have rook f7. Right, okay. Then I cover. I had prep after c6. Such a shame you didn't play it. Yeah, well, I don't know. I know you, mate, and I thought you might have something. So, yeah, you did a good job fighting back there. I'm not sure if I had a quicker mate. Oh, I just had queen f4. Oh, yeah, okay. Fair. But yeah, no, you found a good way out of it, protecting h3 like that. But yeah, GG. Good game. That was a bit of a time scramble at the end, which is quite interesting. I'll probably do like one, maybe two more games, and I'll get going. So get the challenges in. Get the challenges in. Well played, A123. Well played. I don't know any theory in this, obviously, but neither do you. I thought that b3 was a very practical move. Yeah, completely blundering this. Here, a4. No idea what I was doing. Only looked at c6. So here, knight e5 is the best move. The knight back. The engine actually prefers rook f3, interestingly. And if takes and bishop h3, rook e1, c6, it prefers this. And if the same idea of b3 is played, knight f5, let's say knight takes, knight d4, trying to go for this, I guess. Because if takes, you get mated. Okay, okay, GG. All right. We have another Caro. We'll, of course, go for the Panov. We will, of course, go for the Panov. Because the Panov is goated. Oh, it's another rated game. You guys. You trying to take my rating off me? Yeah, bishop f5 is not a move, guys. In the Panov, you cannot be playing bishop f5. Queen b3 is a problem. There's too many targets. The bishop doesn't see anything useful. You've got to develop the knights. Okay. Now, can I remember what I'm supposed to do? That's a very tough question. I think knight f3 is fine. I think this is fine. I'm not sure if it's the best move. c5 I know is also good. Probably. I kind of just want him to take, to be fair. But maybe just c5, forcing him to take and open the a file for me. Right, let's do it now. And this looks okay for black, but I don't think it is. Queen b4? Okay. he's going to have to take me. And I just get development for free. I know. Yeah. And then after the A file opens, we kind of have a 3 versus 2 on the queen side. But b4, b5 looks very nice. And the knight doesn't have many squares. I guess probably e5 has to be played. e6 is a bit passive. Let's push. Let's push. Let's try and boot this knight. Maybe even get b6 in. And maybe force a move like a6. That'd be good. The open A file's incredibly useful. To be fair, I should probably develop the knight so that the bishop can't take it and force my rook away from the A file. But if he wants to give me his bishop, I don't mind. Okay, let's just develop. If this, I feel like we have plenty of play after something like this, although maybe it does this. If here, 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 that looks pretty damn nice. I'm not really sure the knight can be taking on b4. I think it's way too risky because the bishop can't get back. Yeah, knight here, bishop here. Okay. Knight. Do I put my knight on b5 or do I pin? Probably pin. If castles, do I take this and go b5? I'm not convinced. Not convinced. If b5, knight b4, I don't have bishop b5 anymore. So I don't love that. Maybe a bishop b5, castles. Maybe knight back here. Yeah, that looks okay. That looks okay. I think I've slightly misplayed this, but I think it's alright. Knight back to e2 just ensures this is defended. I guess I have rook a4, though, defending. Maybe that's easier. Oh no, there's bishop c2 ideas. No, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I can take this knight kind of whenever I want. I guess I can just get castled, apply pressure on the A file. If pawn a6 is played by my opponent, maybe I snap the knight. Ooh. Okay, let's go knight e5. If take, then take. Oh no, then he has check. Okay, if take, I do have takes though, and then the knight and the rook both hang. Knight d3 check is a nice idea. But fortunately for me, it doesn't work because I don't have to go into that. This bishop could be vulnerable. If we get some pawns rolling at it, maybe. If rook c8, I probably snap with the bishop. Okay, well, that's a free knight. It's definitely not the way to go. And yeah, the black position is falling apart a little bit here. Well, majorly. Majorly. And that doesn't seem to be massively helping. But let's take that. And I think c6 is probably the easiest move to play. Just locking the bishop in. Okay. You can try and win this bishop. I guess it has c2, but kick it around a little bit. c7 is also pretty nice. Probably forcing this. Bloody! I've got my light on like a terrible stand. I've taped it to a cardboard box. It's a really bad setup. I need a better one, but okay. Now 2 black pieces are hanging, which makes this even worse for him. I prepared to play queen a5 after c6 against d4, go into the accepted Panov or elephant gambit. Okay. You crazy man. You crazy man. That would have been pretty funny. Would have been pretty interesting. But I also have the ability to play random stuff. So you've got to be prepared for that possibility as well. Alright. Let's just promote. And we'll offer a rook trade. Because why not? And here, yeah, we're obviously just up way too much material. I'm still trying to fix my light. How is it set up this badly? It's just trying to fall over. I don't know why it won't stay. Okay, it's kind of staying now. Let's castle. Well, I say kind of staying. Oh, the light looks okay on my face. That's alright. Okay. Let's hit the bishop. Bishop. No, it doesn't move. Okay, GG. Yeah, I think I slightly misplayed the opening here. Queen b3 is correct. Yeah. After queen here, knight f3 isn't the best. Better is knight c3, and if take, knight e5 actually. Okay. GG Jaybird. Good game, good game. I'm gonna do one more, and then I am gonna go. I'm gonna do one more, and then I'm gonna go. But yeah, the way that the game went, to be fair, I felt like I slightly went wrong. c5, take here, b4 here. I should have gone b5 immediately. Here I thought if take here, I thought I had a pretty good position. Engine agrees. Okay. Let's go for the last game. For the last game, HT0808. Let's go for a Caro. Adept dude, how's it going, mate? Alright, d4, d5. What are we going to see? An exchange. Is he going to go for a pan-off against me? No. See, the knight doesn't really belong on c3 in the exchange variation, though. It doesn't really belong here. It doesn't make much sense. Really, the pawn wants to go on c3. Because basically, white is playing with one central pawn, whereas we're going to be playing with two. I want to bring this bishop to g4, most likely, or f5, because I was expecting bishop d3. But if the bishop goes to e2, we can just go to here. And our position just makes a little bit more sense with this pawn chain. White should have the same with a pawn chain like this, but because his knight is in the way, he doesn't. So we'll see if that plays any role. Am I gonna play any more games? This is gonna be the last game, Adept dude. This is gonna be the last one. Win counter needs updating. Oh, thank you, Christian. Thank you. You guys haven't done bad. You guys haven't done bad here. You've got 3 losses out of me. Alright, bishop f4. We go bishop to d6. We should offer a bishop trade, typically. If the bishop comes to g5, this pin is not really concerning. Even if we have to take back with the pawn, as long as we haven't castled yet, we have pretty good counterplay on the king side. So that's not really an issue. Okay, take. I expect knight to b5. No. Let's stop knight b5 then. This is a classic setup. And yeah, a4, interesting. So we can likely go for a minority attack. Knight b4 is maybe interesting. No, that looks wrong. That destabilizes the knight. So let's apply some pressure. Just like Maximo Park. If you guys know what I'm referencing, then you're a real one. So I expect rook c1 to defend. And then I want rook c8 to attack. If queen d2... I mean, white probably survives. It's just incredibly uncomfortable. I mean, queen c7, hitting the knight. Knight moves somewhere. Let's say knight back to b1. I don't know 100% if I can take that, but I could just go like knight e4, queen moves somewhere. Oh, maybe my knight hangs in that line, so I've got to be careful of that, but got like knight here hitting the rook. Okay. Apologies. And yeah, so as I said, this knight is kind of misplaced on the c3 square. And the reason is because it stops this pawn from moving properly. And you're seeing why that is now a problem, with all of our pieces ganging up on the white position. You bet $300 this game will end in a draw. Right. Okay. So if I go queen c7, knight's got to move. Knight a2, because my knight is under attack. Hitting the rook. Rook d1. Queen here. I think I'm just up a pawn there. So yeah, initially I was thinking knight here, but of course that hangs my knight. And to be fair, it would be interesting if knight b1, a5, preparing knight here. I think it's too slow, though. I think it's too slow. I think we need to act immediately. Because if he gets the pawn to c3, it's still a weak pawn, don't get me wrong. But he might be able to survive, and I'd rather him just not survive at all. That's what I'd much rather. I think we have a commanding position here. Commanding position. Our bishop on f5 is great. Targeting the weak c2 pawn. Our knight on b4 is a nuisance. The c-file is just incredible. Try to checkmate with King Kong. Bro, what? I have no idea what you mean. You better be willing to fulfill that bet, by the way, mate. Knight d1. I didn't consider that, to be fair. So I guess if I come here, he goes here. I still go here, though. Yeah. I just need to get my knight out of the way. And do it with tempo. And although the knight looks very funny on the a2 square, after rook here, if I had to, I could always go knight c3. And I'm perfectly capable of doing that if I really need to. But after the rook moves, if the queen is on c2, then this is defended. So it's chill, I think. Wait, actually, if here, knight e3, hitting the rook and the bishop, that's a bit complicated. That's actually a bit complicated. So I think it might actually be easier to do this and just trade. Because c2 is still a big weakness. It's still very weak. There's no bishop d3. I'm going to double up. And we're going to be absolutely balling. Our pieces are just better placed. And again, this c-pawn, as I said right at the beginning of the game, on move, what was it, move 4, I said this was a problem. Like, this setup does not, is not great, typically. We're now seeing that 15 moves later. So maybe there was a better way for me to execute that. Maybe the best move was a5. I just thought, I don't know if I should be allowing the move c3. But I guess here, and then takes. Maybe like rook c1, and it's a bit complicated. I guess there's knight e2 check there, but, you know, this should still be fine. Because, I mean, how do they defend? This is attacked twice. It's defended 0 times. If rook c1, I don't even have to take it yet. Okay, that's interesting. So if I take, he takes, I take, and he ruins my pawn structure a little bit. If I take with the bishop, he pins, I go rook c8, and I'm fine. That's probably the easiest thing. Just because I'm inviting a pin on myself doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. As long as there's no way for the pin to be, like, increased, then it's fine. And yeah, there just isn't a good way to do that, because after rook f2 c8, my rook is also defended, so the bishop can just move. So now we're up a pawn. This knight looks a bit silly over here now. Normally, this knight comes to e5. That's typically how that's done. All right, let's grab another pawn. If rook here... e5. Well, no, that's just a free rook. That's just a free rook. Chris, mate, I think... I don't think this is going to be ended in a draw. I don't think this is ended in a draw. All right. You know what? Let's just offer a trade. Let's just try and make this easy. I'm trying, you know, I should still be trying to play the best moves, or at least the most simple moves, to help you guys out when you're converting winning positions. Here we're up a whole rook, so it seems obvious to me that we should be starting to just try and trade as many pieces as we can. Pawn takes makes a lot of sense, creating a passed pawn. Let's go... I quite like rook d1, not because I'm attacking d4, but because I'm stopping the knight from coming back, which makes it harder to stop the pawn. And then the pawn just pushes through, and then we're good. Chris is an honest guy. He's gonna honor the bet. He's gonna honor the bet. And yeah, then we just push through. And yeah, GG. GG. So yeah, I mean, that was a very interesting game. But as I said, like, the knight on c3 is just misplaced. And you can see from the eval, we're already slightly better on move 4 with the black pieces. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So knight c6 is fine. The knight's coming to c6 regardless, basically. The knight's come out. Bishop to f5. Engine kind of prefers bishop to g4, but they're both very reasonable. Bishop out, offer a trade, take, and black is just better. I thought I'd throw in a6. It's not necessary, but I thought it was easy. So, my 300 Zimbabwe dollars. Oh my god, no way. Is that one of the countries with, like, insane hyperinflation? Let me see. What is that, 60 pence? Yeah, grand. That's quite funny. Yeah, a4 was not great because it allows the knight to come into b4. And then here we're just completely winning. Here knight c2 is the best move. After rook c2, bishop c2, queen c2, queen c7, rook c1, we have knight e4. Slightly complicated to calculate, so I figured it'd be easier just to go queen c7, knight d1, knight a2 is the best move. Oh wait, no, here I have knight e4. I completely missed that. And then we force the queen to move, then we can come back. And then if c3, we have knight c2. Okay, interesting. Either way, we went knight c3, which is still fine. And then after all the trades, this is just a big problem. I thought knight to h4 was an interesting move for white, to be fair. Because after something like rook here, knight here, pawn here, bishop d3, rook c3, I don't know, it's slightly interesting after take and take. Here, the engine thinks that white can draw this. So my opponent did go for the right sort of idea, but there's no pin. And here, obviously, my opponent has to take. Or I thought he was going to go rook b1, actually. And if takes, he goes takes, which I wasn't going to allow, because I thought that was quite nice for him. I thought we'd just play something like h6 or g6 here, and just create some luft for the king, maybe knight e4. But yeah, GG to my opponent. Thank you, everybody, for joining the stream. I hope you enjoyed it. And please leave a like if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Thank you for watching, and Christian, thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate it, my man. And I'll see you all elsewhere on the channel.